Hello everybody, let me preface this whole video. I am dabbling in trying to make some videos and the quality is going to be, well, meh. Maybe I'll have a couple good spots, probably some bad spots. I'm going to probably ramble and kind of go off the beaten path, but I want to try things out, see if I like it or not. So if you could give a comment below what I could work on, what needs improvement, you're not going to hurt my feelings. You could say the other worst thing, and I will probably laugh it off. But it's just a little thing I want to try out, and if it goes somewhere, it goes somewhere. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If people like it and people want me to do a little more, I will work on getting a lot better. But for right now, this is just a trial run, but it is a game I do want to cover, and I am interested in the game. I beta tested. I've got over 500 hours in Killing Floor 2, played Killing Floor 1, so I wanted to do a little video on this. Thank you all for giving it a watch and a listen. Little bit behind the ball here, but Tripwire has announced that they have decided they wanted to listen, even though I guess that there was a bunch of concerns prior to the beta that came out. But they decided they were going to listen, postpone, and they have provided us with some updates that they are doing. Thankfully, they're looking good. Will they make it all the way to where Killing Floor 3 should be? Time will tell. But at least for now, we can go over what they are accomplishing and what they've done. And hopefully we can discuss a little bit about where they're going forward. And who knows, maybe Killing Floor 3 will be the Killing Floor 3 we all want and deserve. March 27th, Tripwire announced there's going to be 8 playable locations. So, from the Killing Floor Twitter, or X, hey everyone, our map roster will now feature 8 playable locations at launch, including our latest addition, the never-before-seen sewers. This to me looks more like going back to Killing Floor 1, even Killing Floor 2. A lot of the comments were asking if it was actually like a lost Killing Floor 1 map. This feels Killing Floor. This feels like you're stuck in grunge, you're in the apocalypse, you're really actually in it. The way they designed the levels, they put everything in together. I don't quite know how to explain it, and maybe I'm not pushing it out the best. But I really feel this like hits home to how Killing Floor maps and like they should feel. Kind of like when Resident Evil went off the rails after 4 and came back to home with 7 a little bit, and then 8 was a little bit of a wash. I kind of feel we're like in the same spot there, where Killing Floor had a great identity of Killing Floor 1 and 2, and then they got some ideas of, hey, let's try putting this in, put that in, and see where it goes. And it really strayed too far from the beaten path. You had, with Resident Evil, that real survival horror aspect of managing your inventory and really, holding on to resources, not wasting all your ammo to a run and gun, nothing matters, I can just get whatever I want. And Killing Floor 2 to Killing Floor 3 to me did the same exact thing. They had a really grounded, while there was bugs and issues in Killing Floor 2, there always is, it is what it is. But we found ways to work around it with modded servers, modded maps, and all sorts of different things. But they had their own way of doing things. They had their own formula for a round-based zombie survival. And it set itself apart from many, many other zombie survival games. And in that aspect is why I fell in love with the series, why I played Killing Floor 1, why I put many hours in Killing Floor 2. Not a top tier, not in the thousands, but I think I had roughly around 600 hours in Killing Floor 2. And within just a couple hours of playing Killing Floor 3, I was forgiving of some of the polish and issues graphically and minimal stabilization issues that I had. But I was forgiving of some of that stuff going on. But it just playing it felt too far from home. There was, instead of having a character you want to play and you pick which class you want, they set it out to make them individual operators where if you're playing Foster, you're going to be the assault class. If you're this person, you're that class. And to me, that was a wrong direction. I didn't mind the ultimate ability so much. It wasn't really fitting, but I wasn't going to complain about that. I'm not a huge fan of the mission loadout setup. I really think that I preferred the server loadout. But I understand why they did what they did. They wanted to kind of change it up, give it a little bit more graphical, better look feel of when you and your squad are getting ready to go out and do a map or do whatever game mode you're wanting to play on. So it wasn't bad. I think they could fine tune that, make it a little bit more palatable and pleasurable to go through and do. But I don't think they were too far off the mark. But I think they could fix aspects there. But back to where we were. So Sewers, the newest map, looks really nice. It looks like we're bringing everything home, like we're coming back to what Killing Floor looks and kind of felt like, until we're able to get in and actually play the map, see it fully, and see how it flows and everything. That's left to be determined, but just by art wise and what they're showcasing, I think they're making some directions in the right area, and I think they're making some good moves. It's all about whether or not they can keep going with these and make positive fixes that everyone's gonna like. Next up, we have radar stations. So, on March 20th, Killing Floor tweeted out, the Besiege Outpost contains clues to the origins of the latest wave of Zed outbreaks. Here's a sneak peek at our upcoming launch map, Radar Station. And it looks good. I think Sewers is a little bit nicer looking, but until we can see these maps fully, I can't really give it any judgment. Because you're not going to be able to tell how the map's going to flow, where the spawn areas are, and those sorts of things you're not really going to notice until you're in them and exploring. But just from a concept art and looks at the very front, I'm going to say it looks well designed, well put together, but we'll have to see when it gets done. March 13th, Killing Floor tweeted out, more gloom and grime, we got you. Check out these new concepts for Streets rework. And honestly, I think they did a pretty good job of fixing up this map. They made the colors pop more. It doesn't all look gray, dull, everything blending in together. A lot of the complaints around the beginning were that when you went into Zed time, you couldn't see anything because everything was red. So I think they did a really good job, at least on the concept art that we're seeing. It looks like they really made some good improvements. Definitely the color palette, making it look like it's a post-apocalyptic survival area, somewhere you might actually be. If you're in a city area, that there's been this outbreak, that all this stuff is going on, that you might actually land in. Something that you would actually be fighting. And granted, I know on Killing Floor 2, there was all sorts of cool custom modded maps, whether they're goofy, silly maps or like really thought out, well-detailed built maps. But for what we're getting straight from Tripwire, I think the rework they did to Streets is putting it on par with all the way back to like Sewers and kind of getting back to that original Killing Floor feel. We'll see if they keep reworking maps. I'm sure they have plans to. I really hope that they keep going this direction and fixing the maps. I really hope that there's a lot more that they keep working on. I know they did the HUD. They've added a couple maps. We're going to get 8 maps at launch. And then they've got this rework showcased. Now, if we can get it to where we get all that and then they start dialing back, they already talked about, I believe they're going to get rid of the operator system and go back to the class system the way it was. I hope that they fix the weapon issue, that there's 3 weapons per person or per class, I'm sorry. And I'm fine with having the upgrade system where you can do your customized loadouts and maybe kind of do that tiered loadout system, but it just felt like there really wasn't any guns in the game and not a big variety when all your weapons are is you get 3 weapons and then you get the upgraded versions of them. And it's like, well, can I just buy the upgrades when I'm at the trader? Maybe have some loadouts that you can buy in the similar fashion that they did it, but to the point where you've got all your weapons and maybe a loadout or 2 that you can do the upgrade to. Like in Killing Floor 2, you upgraded power, and I think that was about all you got. Maybe a couple little buffs to the weapon itself, but there wasn't anything this in depth. I do like how they added more for the skill trees where it's not, okay, every 5 levels you get 1 perk, you get this or that. This one you get to expand everything drastically. The ultimate abilities are fine. I want to see kind of how they work that out and how the balancing out of the entire game goes with that aspect. If they keep it, I'm sure they will. That's kind of a oddball thing to want to scrap this late into things. And that's one thing that worries me is they have so many things that they put into the game that changed it, but this far into development, and they're only right now holding off and release until later this year. So they can only scrap, fix, modify, and add so much without basically starting and putting a 2026 release date or really pushing it further back. And who knows if Embracer Group's going to give them that leeway. I know they have what they have now, but we'll have to see how far they can let things go. All in all, I think that they're making some very positive improvements. Time will tell where we're going to land, but I truly think that if they get it more in line with the original Killing Floor, and especially Killing Floor 2 in my case, from the amount of playtime I put into it, if they get more back to those roots, I think they'll have a good game on their hands. I don't mind the model reworks. I don't mind what, the change of enemies. I think some of them have their annoying points, but I do like the way they changed them around and evolved everything. But I really want to see where things land, where we go from here, and I hope they keep putting out these updates like this for everyone to see, being as public facing as possible with all and any changes that they can. And we might just have another really good game on our hands. I really do hope the best. I know that there's a lot of factors that I didn't go into that made Killing Floor 3 where it is now, and issues that have arisen, and probably management and all sorts of things that are going on. But all that set aside, I really hope the developers can get it to what everyone wants Killing Floor 3 to be without having to try and mold every modern aspect of everything that we have going on and put it into a sandwich and call it Killing Floor 3. I really hope that they can take Killing Floor 2 and go, you know what, that was a really good thing we had. Let's fix this. Let's modify it. Let's tweak it a little. Let's add some quality of life features. Let's add some new stuff. And maybe we'll just land right where we need to be. Thank you to anyone who made it this far. I apologize for any of the audio discrepancies or anything that kind of happened along the way. Trial and error, and hopefully I can get better. That is the intent. But if you did make it this far, please give me a like and a follow if you really feel like I deserved it. And at the bare minimum, if you could comment on what you think on Killing Floor 3, where you think we're going, what do you think they could improve, and most importantly, what can I do better? What are some things I could work on? Maybe some stuff I could read, study, learn to make this a little bit more pleasurable for you. This is a learning experience for me, and I feel like I could do 1,000 times better and still be subpar quality. So if you could just give me any good information as to what I should work on, it would be very much appreciated. Thank you. If by some mysterious, crazy reason you made it this far, it is very much appreciated, and you are much loved. Thank you all. Have a great one.